all want to use our drones to get some absolutely epic footage, because of course that is the whole point of a drone. It is a camera in the sky, allowing you the ability to capture shots you would not have been able to do previously. However, it is pretty much impossible to capture shots like this if you are constantly getting a disconnection between the controller and your drone. This has led people to explore ways of extending the range and improving signal. Now, you may have come across gadgets such as these. These are called range extenders, and they basically promise to give you a much stronger signal. These devices are also quite polarizing, with many people suggesting that they do not work under any circumstances, and basically they are just nothing but snake oil, with other people absolutely swearing by them. Now, I have basically built my channel at the very beginning, at the start, by testing these range extenders. I have tested parabolic reflectors, I've tested Yagi antennas, I've tested the Para Yagi, the Super Yagi, I've even tested different metals with the Yagi antennas to see if there is any difference. And I can tell you from absolute fact that range extenders do work. It is undeniable. However, there is a good reason why many of you do not think that these work, and I think a lot of it is down to user error. Because if we take a look at these antennas individually, you will see there are different types. Some of them with the shorter bars are tuned for 5.8 GHz, and some of them are tuned for 2.4. Now, basically, this means that when we are in our DJI Fly app and we go into our transmission tab, you can see we can actually manually select between 2.4 and 5.8. Now, the main issue with these range extenders is with DJI's OcuSync technology, if you have your drone in dual band, which is basically DJI's ability to switch between 2.4 and 5.8 dynamically in flight to ensure that you always get the best signal based on interference levels that your drone is encountering in the flight. Sometimes if you have got a Yagi antenna on, which is basically tuned for 5.8, then it randomly switches to 2.4, you are going to get a worse signal. And this is mainly the reason why I think people that have fitted some sort of antennas or range extenders or boosters, whatever you want to call them, have found they have not worked, because rather than fixing that frequency, they have left it in dual band, which of course can cause them to perform actually worse than if you wasn't even using them at all. Now, when DJI launched the Mini 3 Pro with this fancy DJI RC controller, one of the biggest complaints that they had was the fact that people was getting such poor range. Now, there are many suggestions as to what the reason is for this, but essentially people were looking for ways to improve their signal. Some people even started drilling holes in their DJI RC controller, basically to fit some external antennas, believing that the lack of external antenna was the reason for poor signal. Now, previously on my channel, I have tested range extenders on the DJI Mini 3 Pro with the DJI RC N1 controller, and once again proved that they worked. However, when I was browsing Amazon the other day, just looking at accessories for drones, because there is always companies that are developing products, I came across this accessory right here. This is a Yagi range extender, okay, and it is basically designed for the DJI RC controller. That's the one with the screen. So as you can see, we basically get this real nice piece of kit. And if we just take a look, I must admit I'm pretty impressed. It cost me £17. And basically it comes with a screwdriver, comes with screws, this nice little holder. It slots over our DJI RC controller absolutely fantastically. It gives us space to be able to access our sticks where we can still store them, and of course recesses so we can still press our buttons. Overall, the thing just looks pretty well made. So as you can see, we've got the extenders, which are made out of brass, tuned because the bars are smaller to that 5.8 GHz frequency. We've also got this little half moon reflector on the back, and that's designed to reflect the signal to improve performance even more. So just looking quick at the advert again, these are by a company called LichiFit. They are a LichiFit Yagi antenna signal booster set for DJI RC antenna range extender amplifier for DJI Mini 3, Mini 3 Pro, remote control RC accessories. Basically every buzzword you can possibly think of is in this description to make sure you see it. So these basically tell you that they're going to improve your signal. They say to fly in an open area to try to stay away from buildings and other serious interference sources. No, because the whole point of testing a range extender is to do it in an example where basically it's designed to fail and see how well it actually does. So whilst I've just made the huge claim that range extenders do generally work, in this video we're going to find out if this one actually works. So as I mentioned, it is incredibly important to match up the frequency in your DJI Fly app to the Yagi antennas which you are using. So as you can see, I am on that 5.8 GHz frequency. That is because 5.8 is more designed for flying in high interference areas. And this can be proved because if I switch over to 2.4, you can see we've now got lines all over our transmission screen. People wrongly believe this is indicating signal strength. It's not, it's indicating interference. So that would be the wrong one to fly on. Whereas if we switch back to 5.8, as you can see, all that has gone away. But ultimately, this is a high interference area with which I'm flying. Okay, so this is really going to put these range extenders through the paces. So as you can see, I'm going to head out and begin our test flight. This is going to be done in a straight line test and a circuit test. And what we're going to do is do a test without the Yagi antennas, then the test with the Yagi antennas. So we've got a direct back-to-back comparison. Now, as you can see, I'm flying at that 60 meters altitude for two reasons. One, it's low enough to still be subject to the interference, so it puts it through its paces, but also it's high enough so we are not invading on anybody's privacy. So we're going to conduct the test at 60 meters for all the flights. And to ensure I'm doing my test correctly, if you look at the bottom left corner, providing this little icon here is pointing green, that means I am pointing the controller towards the drone at all times, meaning that I cannot fudge my test. So as we pass through 300 meters, you're going to see we're going to get a little bit of a signal drop, nothing major, and it just recovers immediately. However, as we go a little bit further on, just as we are going to get to around that 450 meters, we get a drop, and then not only get a drop, we get dropped all the way down to orange. Okay, so let's just pause that there. Basically, we have got around 450 meters, which many of you are going to say that isn't really a big distance, and you're absolutely right. But of course, we're not looking to go beyond visual line of sight or anything crazy. Okay, we just want to see whether these extenders work or not. So basically, we've now got a benchmark for 450 meters. So what we're going to do is repeat this test, flying in the exact same area, the exact same flight path, pretty much as nailed on as I can possibly get it. As you can see in the left corner, I'm pointing the controller towards the drone at all times. We're at the exact same altitude. Okay, so basically 450 meters is around our benchmark. As we fly through that 300 meters where we got that little bit of a signal drop before, on this flight we have had absolutely nothing. So that initially looked a little bit positive. So let's just see what happens when we get to 450 then. And as we're just about to get to that 450, as you can see, the signal has actually dropped again. But not only has it dropped to orange, as we've tried to fly that little bit further, we've full on gone to red completely. That's it. Test failed. So really, we didn't get much further than what we did previously. But let's give them a chance to redeem themselves, because what we're going to do is conduct another flight, because of course you don't fly in a straight line. We tend to, of course, fly around. So let's try this little circuit then. Regular viewers of the channel will know that I have flown in this area many times, so I know what to expect. Basically, as I take this left turn, as I get to the end of this little run, I'm fully expecting to lose signal because there seems to be a bit of a black spot or something that causes a full signal blackout. So if that is the case, that is again brilliant, because it means that when we put the Yagis on, we're going to have a good comparison. And as you can see, once we've got to the end of that run, once again, signals dropped, we've gone to orange, okay, fully expected, and basically we've lost our video feed. Yes, we still have control, but of course we can't really see where we're going, so the best thing to do is hit that return to home and come home, and we'll reconduct the flight with the Yagi antennas. So here we go, the final test then. Can the Yagi antennas improve our signal on this little circuit, whereas they didn't particularly improve it on this straight line test? So I'm just going to move this test on a little bit further, okay, because you don't need to watch me waffling. Once again, same thing. Green dot in the bottom left corner, so I'm pointing the controller towards the drone at all times to ensure the best chance possible. However, as we take that left turn and just come to the end of this little run, we have suffered the exact same signal drop as what we got on the flight where we wasn't using the Yagi antennas whatsoever. So there we go. I think that is pretty conclusive. Whilst on my channel I have proven time and time again that range extenders do work when it comes to the DJI RC controller, these Yagi antennas that you can buy from Amazon do not work enough for me to be able to say that is conclusive, that they make any difference whatsoever. However, there is a better solution, because if I told you there was a way that would guarantee you do get a much better range for any of the DJI drone range, then watch this video right here to tell you exactly how to do it.